General checkup.
Huh? What?
We have done a general checkup with him, sir. All investigations I have got done. That
Excuse
time
me,
he
we
was
cannot
like,
hear you. We are not able to hear you, Chandana. Is there any other way you can, any speaker or something? Or be more clear into the mic?
he
Yeah,
had burn infection and generalized body pain, sir.
yeah, this is better.
We have done general checkup for him. At that time, he was diagnosed to be diabetic.
Okay, 4 years back.
1.5 year itself, sir. Not
But
4.
he has written 4 years, Rambai.
Yes, sir, she has to change it. Just now I asked the attender.
Okay, so generalized body pains 1.5 years back, and then what happened? What was he being treated for the diabetes?
He's using Vildagliptin plus metformin, sir. OD.
Vildagliptin and metformin. And was he okay, controlled?
Yes, sir, it was controlled.
What was his
And
control when he came to us HbA1c?
HbA1c is 6.8, sir.
Okay, so reasonably well controlled diabetic as per HbA1c.
TRBS was coming high, sir. Like 370, 380,
Yeah,
600.
although 3 months back he was well controlled, something may have gone wrong 10 days back when he also developed problems of dysphagia and his blood sugar shot up. And then what happened? Why does he have dysphagia? We still don't know. We tried putting the rice tube and it has coiled. We got a good picture of that. Ask Rambai to upload that. It will tell us where the obstruction is, isn't it? That's the first constriction of the esophagus, most probably.
Yes,
Isn't
sir.
it? By the X-ray. And then what happened? Other than dysphagia, what else is there in his? This is the. Can we make it bigger? Yeah, we can see the rice tube, how it is coiled in the upper one third of the esophagus. Isn't it? That's the first esophageal constriction there? I don't know. Alright, so, but why is it happening? Why does he have the dysphagia there? Is it a mechanical? It must be mechanical because why would it coil like this otherwise if it was motor? It must be a mechanical obstruction. So
Yes.
here we definitely need to do an endoscopy and see, isn't it? Now what else did we find? Oropharyngeal candidiasis apparently. Do we have an image? Can you show us the oropharyngeal candidiasis?
They told outside there will be ideal.
Here is an image. Oh, this is the X-ray. That's fantastic.
Today's extra.
So today's X-ray is showing that the earlier shadow which we saw that has broken down and has become a cavitary mass-like lesion, and there is another mass there with a crescent sign. So there is a mass within a mass, yeah, with a crescent sign. Sometimes this can happen with aspergillomas also. Crescent sign, also called as Monod sign, where in the CT also if you can change the poster, it will show that the fungal ball has shifted. So why has he been attacked with this kind of a severe fungal, pulmonary fungal issue as well as probably esophageal disease? What could be the reason other than diabetes? Because this is a very, very unusual form of fungal involvement. Very unusual. We can review the literature and see as to pulmonary involvement in other than aspergilloma. In fact, the way we got the fungal staining from that fleshy mass which he had coughed out, that was also suggestive of an aspergilloma. Isn't it?
The number of nodules really it seems for us. Usually if it's greater than 10 it's more towards low.
If the pulmonary nodules are greater than 10 And if pleural effusion is there, it's most suggestive of mucor than aspergillosis. But ultimate diagnosis with KH mount. Because aspergillus is septate hyphae and mucor is aseptate hyphae.
So what is the KOH mount showing?
Aseptate hyphae. Apparently, we'll get the pictures.
Why haven't you asked for the email?
We asked.
Can you see the other parameters in the log? Okay. What is this?
CBPC.
That's fine. So he is in sepsis also.
He has anemia, 6.8 hemoglobin. Total counts are 18,700 on presentation. Platelets are 3 lakhs.
So we have a patient of sepsis, possibly fungal sepsis, with on the background of diabetes, and he is also having altered sesamoid. So what is the cause of altered sesamoid? It is seen as vasculitis.
Initially, we thought it was uremic encephalopathy, sir, but it's not improving with dialysis, so it should be some other cause.
Yeah, have we given him dialysis?
Yes, sir.
So it's not been improving with dialysis.
Urea on presentation was 200, creat was 10. So
Yeah.
with 2 sessions, it reduced to 60 and 4 creat.
So we have reduced the urea creatinine, but his sensorium hasn't come down. So why don't we do a CH? He must be having a fungal meningitis, isn't it? So do a CSF and do an India Inc. Chandana will just now do the CSF and we'll see her doing the CSF. Then we will stain it with India Inc. and we'll see what comes out. Maybe it's a cryptococcus. Pulmonary cryptococcus.
But such high-grade fevers are not there, sir, to tell fungal meningitis.
High grade fever.
It's not there, sir.
No, why would you treat high grade fever in a fungal infection?
Meningitis.
Fungal infection like that, it doesn't produce any fever. It's a very deceptive, very slow indolent disease, and it kills the patient without letting him know. This is what has happened. He has just caused a very innocuous. Yeah, now we don't have this fever chart in the log. So Rambai will have to upload it. Is Rambai here in the students, among the students? When you have a very student, you only got 6 hours. I am worried about the mobile. So is the student who created this log here, Rambai? Dr. Farhan is here. Microbiology? Acha, this is yes. Okay. All right. So we have got a very interesting patient with disseminated fungal infection in the background of diabetes, and you can see the pulmonary fungal infection is very predominant. Very few of us would have seen such a pulmonary fungal infection, and we do not know whether it's aspergillosis or cryptococcus or mucor. Could be either of it. And we got one fleshy mass from one of the cavities, which basically once the necrotic debris comes out, it becomes a cavity. So we saw that necrotic debris, and we are seeing some fungal hyphae there. We are trying to determine what it is. So in the meantime, maybe a post to the microbiology log group, just to tell them that this is what we are discussing and we need to know, because then we have to urgently start something. So short of amphotericin, what other antifungal can we give this patient? Let's say we are treating disseminated fungemia.
Patient called esophagus, it seems, sir. There is actually a case report of 63-year-old man with diabetes, post-leukemia patient on chemotherapy. who had esophageal mucormycosis.
Yeah,
This completes with dysphagia.
so esophageal mucormycosis is also known. As we showed you our picture of the bile tube coiling up in the one third of the esophagus, it's highly possible that he could be having a big fungal lesion there. So what did that diabetic patient have?
There they did endoscopy, which showed circumferential esophageal wall thickening.
Yeah, but what was the background of his developing the fungal infection? Like we are currently consumed by a panic hysteria in India that this mucormycosis is increasing, and obviously it is because we did have diabetic patients earlier. We didn't see so much of mucormycosis. So, what is the underlying factor?
That patient was on immunosuppressants, post malignancy.
So that patient was not only diabetic, but he was also on immunosuppressant. Now it's possible that this patient was also on immunosuppressant. So Chandana, before he was having dysphagia, did somebody give him some steroids or something for something else?
No, sir, they haven't used anything, sir. They told they just used paracetamol for fever and B-complex, riboflavin, that's all, sir.
When did he have fever? So
3 days before admission, he had one. 3 days before admission, he had one fever spike, sir. So they're telling that it's subsided with medication.
yes, so Chandana, anybody who has fever these days and goes to any doctor worth his salt, what does he get? What tablets are given to him? People are buying those tablets, seeing on TV.
Steroid.
Yeah, that's what has happened to this man also.
They're telling you they didn't use it. They didn't use any steroids.
How do they know what is steroids?
That is the names of the medicines, sir. Riboflavin, B-complex, and paracetamol.
Riboflavin, bicomplex and
Paracetamol. He's telling the names of medicines.
paracetamol.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so maybe there's something else going on that the entire country is still helpless about trying to figure out what is happening. Are they taking cow's urine? What are the various differentials people are talking about for why this thing is happening? So anything else they exposed him to because of fever and COVID? Any other novel treatment like cow's urine or what are the other one? Kada. So I don't know what is kada, but it's something very kada-like thing.
Mucor.
No, I mean all these home remedies. Are they predisposing to mucor? Because obviously all these home remedies will have a lot of fungi in them. We know, like when we see leukemia patients and all that, we tell them not to get exposed to tej patta and some spices. So this kada and all what are being prepared, they have some spices in them. Those spices could be containing a lot of fungus, which is straight away going in and multiplying like anything. Suppose he is diabetic, he is automatically immunosuppressed. Isn't it? Huh? That's mucor only, fantastic. Ask him to send the picture. Huh? He's not getting a good picture. So, Chandana, what can we give for mucor? And where from can we get it? So that our students, 10 of them are here, they'll try to get it from somewhere. For this patient.
Amphotericin, they are not giving it on OP basis, sir. Like if we send an attender, they're not giving it, sir. The patient has to be admitted.
Where? Admitted where?
In that hospital where it is available.
Which hospital? And do you think they're getting it after getting admitted? I mean, how are you so sure that they'll get it if they get admitted there? Can we talk to them that we've got a mucormycosis, do you have amphotericin? And if we send the patient, can you give it to him?
We have to find out, sir. I just heard it that they're not giving it on OP basis.
No, anecdotal opinion.
Find out.
So you have to ask somebody specifically.
Yes,
Isn't it?
sir.
Why not ask our administration
Okay, sir.
how to arrange it?
Okay, sir. Actually, we can give here only, sir, so we can know the response to treatment. like how it resolves. We never gave here.
Huh?
We never gave here, no sir. So it's
Because we are
available.
not able to communicate. There are two voices. They are not able to hear you because there are two
Actually,
voices
never
coming.
gave here ammunition no sir. So we actually want to hear you say on.
Acha, acha. Okay, so get it from somewhere.
They're not giving in the OT cases, sir. Usually in government hospitals, if you go to admit there and fill some form, then they're giving X-ray, sir.
No, but do the government hospitals really have it? And why have they got this
In,
monopol?
in Koti ENT hospital, it is there, it seems, sir.
Which ENT hospital? Koti.
Koti government ENT hospital is there.
Yeah, that we all know. But the thing is, if now is it there or not? If we send them all the way, will he get it? Again, we have to tell with the pictures and everything. Otherwise, why will they believe that he has got rhino cerebral mucormycosis? We have to give them the report also.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me just text our admin group and find out. Yeah, so any other points in this patient? It's all a very peculiar case of disseminated mucormycosis into the esophagus as well as into the lungs.
Lungs.
So let us share this. So what you are seeing here is probably the mucosal bleeding which is happening. Okay, Chandana. So next patient is Dr. Raveen, which he had left kind of incomplete on Friday. The lady with HIV and pneumocystis carinii. So we'll go to that bit. And Dr. Raveen will tell us more about lung pathology patterns in COVID, pneumocystis carinii, ILD, HIV, all that.
So basically, all this for any patient with HIV, retroviral disease, the pulmonary complications are basically clashed upon the only based upon CD4 count, sir. Hello. Yes. Yes, sir. In this article, I found this like based upon the CD4 count, all the HIV patients are more prone for these kind of infections and also like secondary bacterial infections in TB, microbiological TB. The counts are less than 200 are more prone for PCP pneumonia, sir. If the counts are less than 100, are more prone for CMVs, double sarcomas, and like lymphomas and also. So based upon our case scenario, people who are taking ARTs regularly, up to some if at all they misuse a medication, they are more prone for getting a PCP, sir. I mean, pathologically, all these infections and also NSIP, UIP, initial lung disease and all, they all show the common patterns like interceptal septations and all, alveolar field exudates, bronchial opacities. But the diagnostic thing is only if at all we can do the BAL or send for a pediatric glucon and all, based upon the levels of these things, then only we can diagnose if at all this is causing pneumocystic gyri or NTP. Yes. Almost like everything's falling into the same things. Interceptal septations and all, exudates, forming cavity relations and forming nodules and all. GGOs, peripheral GGOs and central GGOs. Lymphocytic infiltrating pneumonias, NSIP and UIP, sir. Basically, these three are more common in HIV patients and all. So, yes. And reticular opacities and all, bronchial opacities. This is CD, madam. I mean, yes. The same thing, sir. High resumption. Having Bangla, yes. They're having a mosaic distribution, sir, basically. Complete. Yes. Yes. Very, very matters. Septal lift.
So we saw just now another patient of fungal pneumonia, where the pneumonia findings are very characteristic. Like it had initial areas of consolidation with air bronchogram, and then there was breakdown, cavitation. But here you see another kind of pneumonia, which is similar to COVID, similar to Pneumocystis carinii, similar to other interstitial lung diseases, similar to HIV pneumonias, maybe even lupus pneumonia. So, all kinds of viruses, bacteria, and fungi, not fungi, and HIV and immune mediated. Essentially, they are immune mediated, I think.
Yes.
So, although they can be triggered by viruses, but they are basically immune mediated, isn't it? So immune mediated pneumonias are showing a very different pattern with the ground glassing and then breaking of the ground glass into this crazy pavement pattern.
Because of septations.
Those are basically the fibrotic septations due to the organization of the inflammation, isn't it? So what is this one? This is a cavity.
Yes, sir. If the patient is left untreated, till 4 to 5 days they form a
large cyst. Let's come down. We followed by course again. Not the large cyst. So I suddenly remembered in our MCQs, there's something to do with pneumocystis carinii. You treat it and then they develop cyst. So were associating a treatment with development of cyst. I'm forgetting what treatment. I mean, we are currently giving cotramazole, but uh, it was something else, some other form of treatment, pentamidine or something. From what I can vaguely remember, pentamidine, isn't it? That they were thinking is causing more of cyst, lung cyst, because of pentamidine. I am vaguely recalling it. This 30 years back. Okay, now KB will tell us if we started on our patient. This patient, how much of cotramazole? Because yesterday, that day, Saturday, we were having a doubt as to how much we were giving her. So how much we ultimately fix the dose? And Chandana, can you show us how much cotramazole she is getting? And has it been uploaded or?
We updated it, sir.
So what is the update?
Doses, cotramazole is a combination of sulfamethoxazole and trimethoprim. Sulfamethoxazole dosage is 75 to 100 mg per kg per day. And trimethoprim is 15 to 20 mg per kg per day.
Yeah. So how much is she
Around 5,000 mg of sulfamethoxazole and
so Srinika hasn't mentioned how much of cotramazole she is getting. Yes.
1,000.
So how much of cotramazole is she getting actually? Yes ma'am, please.
So we changed it to 2 tablets TID, sir.
2 tablets TID you have given.
800 by 160.
2 tablets TID, that's quite a good dose.
Almost.
And before that we were just giving her how much?
One tablet each.
So that was a prophylactic dose, isn't it? Okay, so she is doing well? No. Her lung condition is still not, I mean, physiologically her oxygen requirement is still very high, isn't it? And apparently worsening, not symptomatically. Is she worsening symptomatically? Is she requiring more efforts for breathing? So she is right. So if she is requiring more efforts, Chandana, you also agree, isn't it? With what Raveen is saying, I don't know whether you can hear without that microphone there. So if she is really requiring more efforts, which means that her lung condition is not improving, it's deteriorating. So now is the time for BiPAP. So in the morning we had made arrangements or asked for making arrangements for BiPAP. So what happened? Chandana, what happened to the BiPAP for her? We were supposed to sterilize one of the instruments and then give it to her. Is the BiPAP machine ready for her?
Not yet, sir. We have to, mask is not this. BiPAP mask is not this.
Oh yeah, we asked his husband to buy the mask, isn't it? 5,000 rupees. So could he get it? Did you give him slip to buy it? Did you give him a written slip prescription to buy that? Otherwise, how is he going to get it?
Actually not affordable. Actually not affordable. Actually not affordable.
He cannot afford it, yeah. So why didn't he tell us that? Yeah, Chandana, did we give him any written order to buy it?
My husband is not here, sir.
Yeah, okay, so is there any possibility of getting a BiPAP mask? Otherwise, a spare one.
The COPD patient also we have tried so much, sir. We didn't get it BiPAP mask, so they only bought.
How much did they buy it for?
They know some ambulance person, so they got it some 4,000, 3,500 or 4,000. So they got it at a discount.
What are we doing in the COVID ICU? We have got a lot of patients in COVID ICU on BiPAP mask. Are we getting them to buy it, all of them? Are they buying
Sir,
it?
Hospital provides us with masks generally, bypass
For
masks.
COVID patients, they're providing it because the patients themselves are paying 20,000 per day. So maybe the hospital has made it a policy to provide them the BiPAP mask, isn't it?
Yes, sir. All those masks they gave it in COVID ICU.
The
They are not
accessories,
available here,
the
non-COVID.
accessories are there. So we can see if there are some extra masks in the COVID ICU and get one for her.
Yes, sir.
So
We'll find out.
get in touch with her. Can we ask Vamshi to log in? Vamshi, can we ask him to log in? Vamshi in the ICU.
HIV what happens? So you are talking about pneumocystis carotis. Why is it not a HIV, UIP or MSI? What are the factors which are different? अच्छा MSI is given some contact in the central lobe. Are you there in the central lobe? Do you think? What is the So let's do it. Who is that?
Yeah, from time to time we are going out of the mic because there are other issues, so attending to those, so going out of your audio radar screen. So now here somebody is presenting a case report of who is presenting this? Ravin.
Basically, case reports.
Yeah, use the mic.
Yes. So this is 56-year-old presented with one of history of anorexia and weight loss history. He presenting with dry cough and dyspnea and all. He started with ATT, but he was not responsive with these things, sir. So later on further regular examination on CT scan was showing diffuse GGO, sir, and reticular pattern infiltrates. So for this thing, he was not responding to any ATT, sir.
Yeah, okay. So no response to ATT then. Let's go down.
CT was done and GG was seen.
Let's see the CT. Where is the CT? Okay, some GGO is there in the posterior part. And where did they get this? How did they get this?
Sir?
How did they get this biopsy?
BAL, sir. They did.
Can't be BAL. It looks like a biopsy.
It's a
Transbronchial biopsy. Those reduce alveolar spaces in thick and septic and dense uniform chronic inflammatory. So transbronchial biopsy is a very good idea, isn't it?
But even without this thing, just for bronchoalveolus, you can get the diagnosis, sir, by actually an organism.
Yeah, organism is ultimately satisfying the Cox postulate. Yes, that's very important because this thing, this pathology of reduced alveolar spaces with thickened septi and dense uniform chronic hematopoiesis comprising chiefly of lymphocyte and plasma cells, this can be seen in UIP, NSIP, isn't it? So here the organism, the presence of the organism is telling us there is something else.
Yes.
Probably the organism has caused it.
Yes. Ultimately, it's organism.
And in other cases of HIV, where the organism is not seen, then you think it is something else.
Yes.
It is because of HIV itself.
Complications about it.
Yeah, that's how the thought process has slowly evolved. Isn't it? Can we see what organism they found, how it looks like? Please go down. Like if we had stain. So how come we could not get the staining in our patient of the organism? This is very interesting. The concept of non-specific interstitial pneumonia suggested in 1994 to identify a group of interstitial diseases that have a more favorable outcome compared to idiopathic fever. It is still a purely defined condition. Where it is diagnosed after exclusion of opportunistic infection neoplasm. Occurs in HIV positive patients when the CD4 and total lymphocyte counts are preserved. Cause is unknown, but various agents have been suggested, including the HIV virus itself. Okay, so why are they talking about NSIP here? Was this patient not Pneumocystis carinii? Huh? Why are these people talking about NSIP? Or was it not?
It was negative for the organism.
Ah, it was negative for organism. Yes. Okay. So basically, if it's negative, then you think that it's non-specific. The histology do not relate to other forms of ILD, especially usual interstitial pneumonia and desquamative DIP. So what are these? That's what we wanted to know from you. These other ILDs, which are again seen in HIV, like UIP and DIP. Huh?
For the exact pattern of disease, I'm not able to find this. All the articles are like not free for everything.
So here they are saying, contrasting with the heterogeneity of UIP, which dense collagen is associated with scattered fibroblastic foci. That appears to be characteristic of UIP. As in DIP, there is uniform accumulation of macrophages within the alveolar spaces. The alveolar septa are mildly thickened by collagen and by small number of lymphocyte plasma cells. So in NSAIP there is a uniformity, in UIP there is a heterogeneity. In DIP also there is a uniformity.
There is no clear demarcation for like what will cause this thing and will cause.
Huh?
I mean, it is not clearly differentiated between like this pattern of this will cause this pattern of the pattern and of like lungs and all.
Yeah, that is immaterial. We are just looking into what differentiates the pathology.
Yes.
We are not interested in the etiology right now. But why have we, what is the pattern of NSIP, what is the pattern of DIP, what is the pattern of UIP?
That was I was unable to find.
Huh? Why? All you have to do is see them one by one, see DIP separately, see UIP separately, automatically you'll find. So you write ILD, DIP, UIP, NSIP separately. Yeah, so they are all forms of ILD only. This mucormycosis is really surprising. Acha, Vamshi is here, good. Vamshi, would you like to show us some patients? Some of your patients, and what Raveen also has logged in the morning. Accumulated the logs of your patients. Yes, Vamshi. Your name seems to be different. Is somebody else's name? Krishnavardhan Reddy, somebody else, or you? Can you hear us? Vamshi, are you able to hear us? You are not able to hear us? Yeah, you are audible. Okay, now your name is clear. Vamshi Krishna. Okay. So, Vamshi, tell us about your patients quickly. You have 5 minutes.
First, we discuss about a 7-year-old male patient who is currently complaining of shortness of breath and cough.
Yeah.
What is actually RT-PCR positive 40 days back. So,
We know all that. So, what is SpO2 now?
SpO2 index around 80, sir. So, in 50 liters of oxygen, he's maintaining it 96 and 90.
So, if he goes home, he requires 15 liters per minute of oxygen. Liters are those big cylinders which they keep at home. 40 liters, 60 liters max. So you will be consuming those cylinders like anything. Within hours they will be finishing. So how will we be able to manage that much of oxygen at home?
That was the big problem. Because this is
You yourself suggested that you can shift him to Nalgonda district hospital. Anyway, he is much better. All we require is oxygen. But the problem is there enough oxygen in Nalgonda district hospital? We are maintaining, it is a 6,000 kiloliter facility and we are filling it up every 2-3 days. So,
in Nalgonda district hospital, there are around 200 patients in Sims, sir. I mean, there are certainly large number of
patients, how many are getting oxygen?
10% or 20%, sir. I mean,
yeah. So it's a very peculiar situation with a very low resource. How will they go? And then they have run out of money naturally. 20,000 per day is not a joke. So what is the solution here?
Yes, that's what I was searching for post-COVID-19 symptoms, fibrosis.